So The Crying Game is a movie from 1992. It's about a cis white man who falls in love with what he thought was a cis black woman, only to later find out that she is actually a trans woman, and she finds out that he is an Irish terrorist responsible for the death of her ex-boyfriend. It's definitely not a normal romance film. I would say it could be classified as a new queer cinema film, for sure. It has a lot in common with Lola and Billy the Kid. They deal a lot with transgender issues, sexual orientation, gender roles, toxic masculinity, and humanism. These two movies also have similar lighting. The scenes that take place at night are dark, of course, but also the scenes during the day are often sort of lacking in color, and they aren't very bright or vivid films. In some ways, The Crying Game is also a little bit like Far From Heaven. They both use color to show emotions, and the costumes in The Crying Game are pretty similar to the costumes in Lola and Billy the Kid. I think actually that one of the main characters in The Crying Game almost wears the exact same clothes as one of the main characters in Billy the Kid. The five main characters of this film are Jude, a white woman, Jody, a black man, Dill, a black woman, McGuire, a white man, and Ferguson, or Jim, another white man. What's interesting about this movie is that none of these characters, for the most part, completely follow typical gender stereotypes or racial stereotypes. We often think of black men in films as being like gang members and criminals and, I don't know, uneducated people. But actually, Jody is really educated, or he at least comes off that way. He's very nice, very kind, very funny. The only racial stereotype that he does fall in line with is that he plays cricket, which apparently is a black man's game.
Cricket's the black man's game.
McGuire actually kind of does fall in line with stereotypes of white men. He's an all-around jerk. There's Jude, who displays a lot of toxic masculinity. She's very violent. She's very aggressive. She is very sexually aggressive.
Fuck me, Fergus.
And she's just a bad person.
I said, shut the fuck up.
Then there's Dill, a black woman. She is a trans woman. She's just a good person. I heard that stereotypes of trans women in film is that they're either used as a punchline to be funny, or sometimes they play like crazy people, or they are supposed to be like hyper-sexualized. And I don't really think that she's any of these. Last, there's the main character, Ferguson, who also goes by Jim. He also does sometimes resort to violence, which could seem like toxic masculinity, but it's pretty much always in self-defense. He is actually very kind. He's the only person who's nice to Jody. They become close friends. He falls in love with Dill. Even when he finds out that she has a penis, he is hesitant to stay with her, but eventually does try to make it work. And he even goes to prison for her. He also has the same haircut as me.
You trying to hurt my feelings?
So what I thought was cool about this movie is that cis white woman isn't just the damsel in distress, but actually she's one of the toughest, meanest people in the movie. And while the black character does die first, in pretty much every other way, he's not just like a typical cliche character. The trans woman is treated with respect, and she's not just the butt of some joke. And while one cis white man is a bad guy, the other one is actually a very good person. Lastly, so often in movies, and sometimes even in real life, it seems like the female would be less attracted to the male than the male would be to the female. For example, look at Donald Trump and his wife. And what's cool about this movie is that actually, I think that the male character is unattracted in some way to the female character because of the genitals. And despite this, he loves her so much that he actually stays with her. And I just don't think that this is done in a lot of movies. So it was cool to see it done almost 30 years ago. Overall, this movie is really good. It's got a 97%. It's on Netflix. You should check it out. I had to leave a lot of things out because so much happens in it. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like the video. It really helps me out. And if you'd like to see more content like this, please subscribe. Just kidding. I don't have a YouTube channel.